there, Leo. Welcome to a life path reading where I'm looking at the time frame of September through December, so the rest of this year, 2023, and seeing the kind of reflecting thus far and looking ahead to the last quarter of the year. And this is a different spread that I normally do. I'll talk about the cards when I pick them up. Okay. You see those bottom cards. So the three cards in the middle are what is going on with you now as you move forward to that last part of the year. I've been trying to adjust my tripod a little bit. Okay. So the first card is the Nine of Swords. This can indicate anxiety. I like to, talk about the astrological influences that are happening at the moment. So back in May, Leo people had a lunar eclipse in Scorpio, and this fell in your fourth house of home and family, and there may have been some very intense situations that resulted from that, and maybe it hasn't been so easy for the last few months for the typical Leo person. I'm trying to think too what else is going on. Yeah, and so the Nine of Swords is a card of anxiety, but sometimes the anxiety can be happening even though it's not really as bad as the person may think it is, and they may be reacting because you could say that almost like they're overreacting because there are changes, maybe because Leo's a fixed sign and you really are much more comfortable with predictable situations, things happening as they always have, and you don't always have that in life. So the Hangman, you may feel like you're in this state of suspension. In some cases, if there are relationship issues going on here, you may feel like you're being jerked around by someone, but this could even be with work matters, because you could just have a situation where someone has been promising you something, but they're not delivering it, and it's getting old. You're getting tired. They're going to leave their marriage. They're going to give you a promotion, and none of these things. It's like being strung along. And so really, what's happening with the Hangman is the person may be, feeling like they can't move forward because they're still like enticed by someone else's offer or promise. And so they're kind of stuck because they're, they're waiting for this thing to happen that never does. And therefore they can't do something else that has to do with whatever that area of life is. If you're working somewhere and they're promising you a promotion, but they keep, pushing it back, you're not going to go out and get a new job if you, like that job and you'd like to keep it, but you have certain demands. You might take them at their word, and then you feel like you're stuck. You feel like, you're between a rock and a hard place in a way. But for some of you, the hangman may be finally letting go, finally surrendering, letting go and letting God to a situation that you try to control, and you realize, I'm just making myself upset, scared, anxious, and for what? So I'm going to let go. And then we have the Six of Swords. So this can be the card of, choosing peace, moving away, even sometimes physical relocation, because you've decided that you don't want to fight with someone. You don't want to have that kind of ill will. You want to move on with your life. So whether you have done these things or not, they could still be things that, are in your mind, on your heart. Now I picked 3 cards to represent what you've been working through in 2023 thus far. So this is kind of like a past situation that you could say maybe has led to the current thing. But sometimes these can be lessons that you have learned. The first one is the Two of Swords. Whenever you see swords, and that's why this particular deck, I think, depicts a lot of the swords cards with black birds, because swords are connected to air signs, which are Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. So they could be people born under those signs, but also the swords represent strife. It represents, because of air signs, it represents the thoughts that we have, the communications we have. And so sometimes with certain swords cards, they can be more on the negative or challenging side. So with the Two of Swords, the person is being pulled maybe in 2 directions to make a choice about something. She has a blindfold on, which indicates that she is maybe making a choice without really thinking about it fully, really aware, doesn't have that awareness of the true, nature of what she's choosing. So she may be kind of operating in a sort of ignorance, you could say, or denial in some cases. So maybe that's something that you have been putting off a decision, or choosing between 2 things that are really not even a choice. And that's part of the delusion. Like choosing between 2 people, and neither one of them are relationship material, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a relationship, but you're choosing between 2 people who have no intention of being in a relationship. King of Swords. So really having to pull back emotionally. Leo is a very passionate sign, and it can be very easy for you to get caught up in all of that. Yeah, sometimes it can be downright drama, but even just strong emotions, and sometimes that can get in the way of our ability to think straight and also to make decisions that are best for us. If you're just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be alone, or I don't want to lose this person in my life, even though, you're in this relationship that has brought you a lot of pain, that's not necessarily thinking clearly to try to hold on to it. So it can be one of those deals. Also, the king can be the father. So for some of you, you may be looking at your father, and maybe in this past year, you have seen your father in a different light, and you're seeing how he was so divorced from his feelings. And this can happen to a man very easily. It's not just like a woman who is saying to herself, oh my God, I married my father, and I want to get divorced from this man who never tells me that he loves me, or who doesn't share his deep emotions with me. And that's how my father was. But it could be a man who sees the same thing with his father, and realizes that it has impaired his ability to have a close relationship. It's impaired his ability to be intimate with somebody emotionally. Page of Swords. You may have had to really kind of watch your back, or I know that sounds pretty paranoid. What I mean is, like, in some cases, not just take things at face value, but really research, because if you experienced any kind of betrayal that maybe the Nine of Swords has made you anxious about, and you just kind of went along, with what somebody told you, the Page of Swords can be that, doing your own research and coming to your own conclusions, and being more aware of what's going on, instead of just, believing what somebody says, or, just kind of neglecting to kind of document something if there was something in the workplace or whatever. Having to do something like that. Knowing who your friends are, knowing who the people are that you entrust with some of the things. Maybe there's people who really didn't have your best interests at heart. So where are you going? One card that you get here is the Death card. And they make a point in this particular deck, which is the Light Seers Tarot deck, to say rebirth, which is nice because they don't want to just make people think, oh my gosh, something is just irrevocably ending, which it might be, but that is going to lead to something new being born out of that ending. And in your case, I'm again, looking back to that, what I was speaking on about that eclipse, that lunar eclipse in your 4th house. That was something that may have ended with your household. And sometimes, so I even see that one, like if your family was, altered in some way because you are getting divorced. It's not, to me, the 7th house is one indicator, but the 4th house can be another thing, and disruption in the household. And just being able to kind of navigate that, accept it, not freak out about it. And it's funny too, because the Death card is connected to Scorpio, and that's where that eclipse sign, the eclipse, was in. And for some people might have been losing a job. This is a future card, so I'm sorry. What I mean to say is that you may be letting go of a job. It's not so much that you lose it, because even with the 6 of Swords, you may be moving. You may be physically relocating, and you're ready to start fresh. And the way that you're doing that is by changing your immediate environment in some cases. The Magician card, seeing more and more evidence of how you create your reality and how you have power over your life. I think that, I really do believe that Leo people are successful in the world by and large. And I think one reason why is that they tend to be very ambitious. When somebody is ambitious, what that really means is that they go after what they want. A person who is not ambitious is going to wait for something to drop in their lap. They might want some good things to happen, but they're not willing to go after them, and a Leo person typically is. So maybe it's your love life where you think, where you feel kind of this sense of learned helplessness. Who knows? And you realize maybe this is the time when you realize that even that area of life, obviously we can't control other people, but based on how we behave, they're going to have to alter their interactions with us, because we're not going to be interacting with them in the same way, so it can't be the same. and the Page of Cups. And this is a card to me of being aware if you do have the tendency to be kind of like naive about things and not seeing them as they are. And that can go back to the Two of Swords or even the Page of Swords. If you have neglected to, pay attention to the details that could inform you about certain things going on, then it's now, you have to own that and see how you did that. But by the same token, the Page of Cups can be about like being open to love like a child, because the Page of Cups can actually be the card of the child. So in terms of your own willingness to stay open to new love coming into your life, not getting bitter, not getting paranoid, because it's not about paranoia. The Page of Swords, maybe in the challenge position could be more about paranoia, but it's really just about, paying attention to clues and keeping your wits about you, being very observant. But the Page of Cups can be about being very open, having your heart chakra wide open. All right, that's what I have for you, Leo. I hope that resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.